Welcome to the Year of the Movie podcast, the podcast where we talk about movies from the year of the movie 2023. I'm Sebastian.
I'm Maggie.
And today we have Bryce in our video booth.
And I get a nice couch seat.
Yeah, our video booth for all of our viewers is just Bryce is further down on the couch than I'm on. But he gets a nice little microwave next to him.
Mm-hmm.
If I get
Pop open that microwave. Just let's get our audio viewers into this. Ooh,
Wow.
what a good sound. I hope that you
That's
heard that.
A
let me,
microwave.
let me get another clean take.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, closing.
Yeah.
Oh, an opening?
Oh, I'm so hungry. I'm going to get a meal.
Ooh. This is great content for our movie podcast.
Are the meals stored in the microwave?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just asking for a friend.
Yeah, you've clearly never used a microwave.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's who we are. This is our show. If
Mhm.
you'd like to support us, please go to our Patreon for exclusive bonus content.
And early content.
Maybe.
Yeah, episodes go up early.
Not anymore.
Episodes went up early.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there might be a time in the future where it's like, hey, we're releasing a short film and you can see it on our Patreon
Yeah.
before it's anywhere else.
Yeah. That.
But we pivoted with
That's
our,
right.
our main content, which if you want those kind of updates, check out our virtual house sessions podcast. But why didn't we start this podcast? This one that we're talking on.
Oh, this one?
This one that people are listening and watching to.
Oh.
Why did we start that one?
I've never thought about it before.
Really?
No, I'm lying.
Oh, okay.
We started this podcast because 2023 is a goofy year for movies. We've got the big ones we always mention, 65 and Cocaine Bear,
Yep.
and the other like more mainstream ones like Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Mhm.
A lot of biopics have come out, will
Yes.
come out this year.
We're finally nearing the end of this year,
Yeah,
which
I'm finally getting previews and like trailers
For 2024.
2024.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hopefully we still have time to watch new movies when we're doing this
I'm
podcast.
sure we will. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else. A lot of like product movies like Tetris and also Barbie and
Blackberry came out this year, and then Air, and
yeah, an Indiana Jones movie came out this year. A Fast and the Furious movie came out this year. A Mission Impossible movie came out this year. All the big ones, and also Five Nights at Freddy's.
Man, that's a bump. So I was looking at your list there that you had on our screen that the viewer can't see.
My
But-
spreadsheet.
Your
Yeah.
spreadsheet. One of the movies that was supposed to come out this year was Harold and the Purple Crayon
Oh yeah.
with Zooey Deschanel and Zachary Levi.
That was a movie?
It didn't come out.
Oh.
It got pushed to 2024. I'm seeing that now.
Oh okay.
But maybe we do some research on that. If it was ever in a festival in 2023, we will still talk about it.
I mean, I'm sure we'll do a bonus episode about like movies that were supposed to come out this year too.
Yeah.
Except for Dune Part 2 because you don't want to do that.
Yeah, because I haven't seen the first one. Because why would I? Why would I, Bryce?
I read Harold and the Purple Crayon as a
I
kid.
thought you were about to say you read Dune, and I would have
I-
said good on you. But if you
Yeah.
read Harold and the Purple Crayon, good on you.
Yeah.
That's literature.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so the movie that we're talking about today
Mhm.
is a movie that everyone's been talking about. There's so much.
There's us.
So the movie is
Somewhere in
Queens, which is Ray Romano's directorial debut. So I guess we're doing a little theme right now of comedians' directorial
Yeah.
debuts, because our last episode was Old Dads, which
By
was
Bill Burr.
Bill Burr's directorial debut.
I don't want to say I'm excited to talk about this movie because I'm so sleepy right now, and that's just gonna come off as a lie. But I'm looking forward to talking about this
Yes.
movie, especially compared to Old Dads.
For sure. And if you watched
Yeah.
our Old Dads video,
You'll know why.
but if you haven't, go back. Go back.
Yeah.
Bryce, switch to my camera. You go back and you watch that episode. Okay?
Okay.
All right, now back to the wide. So let's talk about the synopsis of this film.
Yeah, so Leo and Angela Russo live in a blue-collar life surrounded by the big personalities of their overbearing Italian-American family. When their son's chance at a life-changing basketball scholarship is jeopardized, Leo risks everything to help him, but may tear the family apart trying to make it happen. What were your first impressions when you heard about this movie? Because we did hear about this movie.
We did, yeah. I was excited. I mean, I like Ray Romano. He's a good comedian who also does good dramatic work. This movie looked sweet. It looked like a movie I would be into because it's about people just doing people things. And the trailer that I remember watching was a pretty good trailer. What were your first impressions?
I think I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting, because there are a couple of things that I'll talk about in the trailer that I thought were like kind of subversive, and like it gave me a certain expectation about the movie. I think it's always interesting when an actor makes a movie or like directs a movie, and it can go in any number of directions. And yeah, it just seemed like a wholesome vibe. And a very different, I don't want to, but I'm gonna keep comparing it to Old Dads, and just a very different vibe of like, they have so many similarities on paper, but it's not.
Very different movies. Bryce, can I ask, have you heard of this movie before?
Not until you told me about it the other day. Yeah. I was like, oh.
It really, it did not have a marketing.
Not a big splash.
No.
Yeah.
I also don't know who Ray Romano is.
Oh, really?
Do you know the show Everybody Loves Ray?
What about Manny, the mammoth from Ice Age?
That. Yeah, no, I know that.
It's Ray Romano.
Oh, okay.
What about when someone says Deborah? Does that make you think of anything?
Deborah.
I'm sorry.
I'm Ray Romano. Everyone loves me.
I get that.
I figured
I'm a mammoth.
It was gonna happen at some point.
Yeah, I mean that's more of an inside joke for us, because that's my dad's impression of Ray Romano is just him going Deborah, and that's all it is.
I feel like when he does it, it gets less and less human every time.
It evolves.
Yeah, it's very goofy. I want to say this movie takes place in New Jersey. And so they really are like the Italian American family.
Yeah.
They're all, even like the kid in high school in this movie is like, Ma.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, come on, Ma. I mean, come on.
He's a really quiet kid. That's like part of his personality.
But, like, the first line he says is Ma.
Yeah.
It's just, and it's just like, it's great because like they're all like use guys and just doing all of that, and it's just
Ma.
It just takes me back
to when you were a young lad in Queens.
Somewhere.
Oh, I guess it doesn't take place in Jersey. It takes place in Queens, huh? Well, did they go to Jersey?
The school is in Philadelphia.
Yeah, maybe that's what I confused it with.
Just East Coast.
It's definitely East Coast. Maybe here's why I confused Philly with Jersey.
Okay.
Because we recently were at Bryce's Halloween party, and someone was there, and they said, "Can I have some water?" And I was like, "Oh, are you from Jersey?" And she went, "No."
Oh, Savannah, yeah.
And then her partner was like, "Yeah, she's from the Philly area." And I was like, okay, so like I was like pretty right on the money.
Close enough.
Yeah. So I think that's why. Like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's fun how they balance each other out. She has a very punchy personality, which is good. She's a very punchy personality, and her partner is a very gentle person. So she'll punch you, and then he'll come up and caress your cheek. It's a very nice balance.
So many mixed messages from this couple at this bar.
All right, so in this podcast, we talk about the trailer for the movie.
Yeah.
Why do we talk about the trailer for the movie?
It's interesting to see how a movie markets itself. Sometimes there are really big differences between what a trailer sets up and what a movie actually delivers on. Also, like, talking about the legacy of a movie is much harder to do when the movie's only been out for a couple of months versus movies that have come out years ago. And that's the whole point of this podcast. That's movies that have come out in 2023.
Yeah.
I also give you a general vibe of the movie if you want to
Maybe
go
you
watch
wanna
it.
go check it out.
Which I kind of recommend for this movie.
I would say you should watch this one. You should watch it.
We watched it on Hulu.
Yeah, it's on Hulu. So if you got Hulu, go watch it.
Mm-hmm.
You should watch it,
Mm-hmm.
and then keep watching this podcast to see what we think, and
Yeah.
then maybe your opinions either agree or disagree with our opinions, and then that can
That's a discussion.
that gets a response out of you, and then you can take that response and leave it in the comments.
Okay, but how do you feel about watching the movie and having a podcast on at the same time?
Well, if this was like a direct response to a scene discussion of like Mystery Science Theater type of thing, then sure. However, it does not correspond, so we're going to be talking about stuff that you probably haven't watched yet.
But then the dissonants are like, oh, I remember them talking about that.
Yeah.
Interesting. It could be
Sure,
like a little
sure.
puzzle, like a little clue.
Yeah, a little puzzle that you're figuring out in your brain as you're doing it.
Completely distracting you from either medium.
Fun for the whole family.
If you just started somewhere in Queens and kept this podcast on at the same time, then the little clue right now, as the opening credits are going, is just Rocky.
Rocky. Yeah, so I think we'll talk about the trailer now. I believe it's your turn.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is an upbeat music is playing, and we see a man, Leo, smiling in the stands of a high school basketball game. The announcer introduces a player, Styx, that's his nickname, and Leo's son, and the crowd cheers as Styx points to his dad in the crowd. They chant Mr. Russo, and Leo waves, clearly liking the attention. Leo's wife, Angela, asks how long have they been doing that. Leo responds, just the last 3 or 4 games. Weird, right? Angela says, yeah, I can see that you hate it. There's a brief basketball montage of Styx on the court and his parents cheering in the stands. There's voiceover of a man saying, your kid, he has good game. Where's he going to college? Leo says, he's coming to work for us. It's the family business, construction. And we see Leo working out with other guys on a house. The man responds, I'm a scout. If you want me to make a few phone calls, there might be a hole here or there. Some of those holes have scholarships. There's more basketball shots as he speaks, the ball going into the net. Another dad in the stands start yelling, who let the dogs out? And the others respond with the who, however many there are.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
I want someone to do an edit where
I
it's
said I'm sleepy.
it's the actual song, and then it cuts to you going
Who.
Like an owl.
Angela says to Leo, they know that's 20 years ago, and he said, I told him they should use Ain't Gonna Be No Rematch like the end of Rocky. Angela says, that's 40 years ago. Cut to Leo and Angela meeting up with Styx in the hallway with a girl, Danny, walking with him. Angela asks, who's this, Styx? He says, oh, this is Danny. Leo says, nice to meet you. There's a brief shot of Styx giving Danny a piggyback ride, and Angela says, I do not like her. Leo says, don't be mean in front of her. She don't know us yet. As Styx and Danny are walking out the door, Angela says, come to dinner Sunday, 12 o'clock. Danny says, dinner at 12. I love it. I'll be there. Different upbeat music plays over a review quote in front of the family home. An affectionate love letter to Italian-American families. We see the family at dinner, and Angela introduces her to everyone, saying, Danielle's from Forest Hills. A family member, Frank, says, we worked on a house over there, and one of his sons asks, guy had a Maserati. The other one says, yeah, but it was yellow. No thanks. Danny asks, any more meatballs? And Six's grandmother excitedly says, oh, I'll make some more. Danny starts to say, oh no, please, and everyone cuts in with, too late, you've already started it. Danny says, no, really, I have enough, and they all start joking that the neighbors will be getting meatballs. They all laugh together. Another review quote over an empty gym. Really funny, warm, and real. We see Leo and his family walk into a large stadium, Leo looking shocked at the size. His voiceover says he gets on that team, everything changes for him. We see Angela tell her husband, you need to turn down the rah-rah. And Leo asks why, I'm excited, and we see him playing basketball in the driveway with his son. Angela says, just let it be his choice, and we see a close-up of Danny's face in a car. The music cuts out and things briefly go to black, coming back up on Styx saying, she broke up with me. Angela sarcastically says, I'm so surprised. Leo says, your mom's hysterical because she doesn't like seeing you like this, getting hurt. Back to black briefly, more acoustic music plays as it comes up on Leo standing alone in the stands. There's a review quote, a winning directorial debut by Ray Romano. There's a shot of Styx at his desk with his dad's voiceover. He'll be okay. I just gotta get his mind off of it, get him back on the court. And we see Leo checking his watch in the driveway, waiting for his son to come play basketball. Danny opens her front door and sees Leo standing there. He says a casual, "Hey, Danny." We see them talking in a car as Leo tells her he's not going to make that team if he's sad like this. It cuts to Danny's worried face, then Leo's as he continues, maybe you could go back out with him. A review quote over the family toasting at dinner, smart writing and a superb cast, then a shell-shocked Styx walking up to the table looking at his dad. Angela says disapprovingly, "Leo, what did you do?" And Leo's dad tells his son, "You humiliated him." Leo yells, "I'm trying to save him from a lifetime of humiliation," and Angela throws cake at her husband. The screen briefly goes black again, coming back up on Angela sitting in a mall with a review quote, "Laurie Metcalf is incapable of hitting a false note," before we see her telling her son he's so stupid sometimes, before showing a photo of Leo and Styx together with a basketball trophy. Leo's voiceover says, "I always try to do what I think is best for you." There's another brief flash to black before showing Styx in a spotlight and his dad standing and applauding. We hear Danny's voiceover saying, "You're lucky, Styx. You have family that cares that much." And there's shots of various family members hugging before the title, "Somewhere in Queens," fades in. Leo's voiceover comes back, talking to a recruiter. "We call him Styx because of the long legs. Came out of the chute that way. Just kept growing. Still growing." And his wife and son just look at the recruiter awkwardly before the full screen graphic comes up with the film's release info. So, it kind of sets up the dad pushing goals onto the kid thing of like, there's always the Disney Channel original movie vibe of like, "I'm not giving up on my dreams, Dad. I'm giving up on yours." And then the trailer shows Leo asking about Danny still dating his son, but then also clearly establishes that the movie thinks that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's all very conversational dialogue, and the title is pretty chill, just like "Somewhere in Queens."
Yeah.
It's really highlighting that this could be any Italian American family. It's not like you're not going to be seeing Ray Romano. You're looking for Leo, or like a story about Leo.
Ray Romano definitely isn't playing Ray Romano in this. Like, it's not Everyone Loves Raymond.
No, he's not that kind of like checked out dad.
Yeah.
He obviously very much cares about his son. I was also surprised because I remember watching the trailer a while ago, kind of forgetting that the movie existed. And then we watched the movie, so then I watched the trailer again to make the recap thing, and I was just kind of surprised at like what shots they included in the trailer, because they give away a lot of just, I mean, visually there's stuff going back. It was like, oh, it's an interesting choice to include that specifically from the trailer. I don't know.
That's fair.
Yeah. Nothing like to the extent of like what we said in like the Dungeons and Dragons episode of like, there's a dragon.
Yeah.
Because the trailer showed you a dragon.
Yeah.
Anyway. We want to talk about the cast?
Yeah, the cast was good. Everyone did a good job. We got Ray Romano as Leo Russo. Laurie Metcalf as Angela Russo. Jacob Ward as Matthew Styx Russo.
Their son.
Sadie Stanley as Danny Brooks.
His girlfriend-ish.
Yeah. Tony LoBianco as Dominic Pops Russo.
That's Leo's dad.
Sebastian Maniscalco as Frank Russo.
That's Leo's brother.
Yep. Jennifer Esposito as Pamela Carmelo.
That is a woman that owns a house that they're working on for the Russo construction company. Deirdre.
Deirdre. Yeah, no, I was looking at the last name. Deirdre Friel. Friel as Rosa Russo.
She is the sister of Frank and Leo.
Yep. And Eric Griffin is DJ Joey Bones, baby.
He's DJ Joey Bones.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah. Yeah, there are other... It's a pretty large cast. This is just like the various people that I think we either see the most, and also I just recognize Eric Griffin from various things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the movie really is what you see in the trailer.
Yes.
I'd say. It really is like Leo's son has a chance to get on a basketball team, but Danny breaks up with him, and then he gets sad, Ray Romano asks Danny to go back out with Styx
Mm-hmm.
so he can be happy to get on the team.
Mm-hmm.
That really is
That's the main
that's
thing.
the main plot. And then they have like little B and C plots too that they do quite nicely. But
Yeah. There's nothing like super groundbreaking about this story.
it's just done well.
Yeah. Like I think it's pretty safe for Ray Romano of like I don't know. It's not unexpected, but like he knew what his strengths were and he played to his strengths versus again Bill Burr and old dads.
Yeah.
And like
It wasn't preachy in any way.
No.
It wasn't like
no,
grotesque humor.
yeah, because old dads is trying to be like this is society, or this is like this could be anyone, but it's just making caricatures of people, and these are actual fully developed characters, and like there's so many little throwaway bits that you just like get a fully realized version of this family and like what their dynamics are and why they are the way that they are.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, pretty chill.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd say we probably start talking about spoilers.
yeah.
So if you don't want spoilers, go watch the movie and then hit play.
Yeah, I would say the one weird turn in this movie that is otherwise based in realism is the asking your son's ex to keep dating your son so that he can be happy and play the big game.
Yeah, and like it definitely like is a terribly uncomfortable thing to watch because that's so cringy, but they also do establish his character as someone that like it is believable that this character would do it because like he really doesn't think, he gets caught up in his head, and he is just looking out for his son and with his own ulterior motive.
Yeah, his ulterior motives are just like everyone chants his name at the basketball games because they see how supportive he is of his son, and that's really the only place that he gets recognition of that.
His
or
family
like,
is, Italian American.
he doesn't get a lot of positive
No,
reinforcement.
a lot of it is very just like being made fun of. He was also a quiet one, growing up, and then like his son is really quiet, so they like teased his son for being
gave
quiet.
His son the support that he
Never got.
didn't have growing up.
Yeah, and like you see in the movie, like Leo works for his family's construction company. His dad is the boss and owner of the company. And at the beginning of the movie, Ray Romano is like, "So I'm going to my no, I'm kidding. So I'm going to my son's basketball game now, Dad."
He prioritizes leaving work early to make sure that he goes to the game.
It's probably going to be the last game of the season. I was thinking, since you've never been to one of his games, that you should come.
Yeah.
And the dad is like, "Why? You just told me that he's probably going to lose."
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, you'd think that the grandpa would at least be supportive of.
The other thing is like it's a family business, but it's definitely the dad and Frank who are the ones that are in charge of like the business side.
Yeah,
like,
Leos is just like, he actually like does the grunt work.
He's not even a foreman, I guess, technically. No. Like Frank is the foreman.
Yeah.
But yeah, Leo is the one that does like the actual labor with his friends. And then Frank is just like, everyone says the entire time how much Frank sucks. His kids are dumb.
Well,
like,
they are the East Coast douchebags. I mean, like that's
they're the closest caricatures of just like I don't like when Danny meets the whole family and Frank is like talking up his own kids in front of like Styx of like, you're with that guy. Like,
he's like, my kid's 22 and has a Mustang.
Yeah.
Hey.
He's like, kid bought his own Mustang, and the guy's just like, I have a car.
Yeah. I was surprised that Sebastian Maniscalco was in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he's friends with Ray Romano because they're comedians from the East Coast. But I was just surprised because
about my father.
Yeah, Sebastian had his own movie this year.
That's also about Italian American families.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which we will get to at some point.
At some point. Yeah.
It doesn't quite do the show don't tell like to the full extent, but again, like the little details of various lines and things, and you get hinted at of family dynamics, and then especially with Angela, she had cancer.
Yeah.
She doesn't anymore, but she's not quite like out of the woods yet.
No,
They said
she's still very much scared.
she's she's terrified of it coming back,
Yeah.
but then they specify that the doctor said that like you don't have to worry or like the percentage that you have to worry about this goes way down after 5 years, and it hasn't been 5 years.
Yeah.
But like her hair has grown back. She's still very self-conscious of like meeting people in public who acknowledge the cancer, I think.
She's just very classically East Coast about it, especially
Yeah.
like New York, New Jersey, Philly, whatever. They just like the older generations there don't believe in the therapy or like sharing feelings to get better.
Leo
or
says that.
yeah,
Of like when he talks to Danny, he's like, it sticks his mom. She's tough. She doesn't believe in any of that therapy stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is just very accurate to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, some of the show don't tell stuff is like when Leo is standing or like sitting in the stands at the basketball games, and like Styx points up at him and everyone cheers. Then it's like very clearly this has happened several times.
yeah,
You can see in the expression on his face that like he enjoys this and that this is new for him. And that like Angela also sees this in her husband and is like sarcastic about it, like, I can tell you don't like it. Like she notices right away, because she doesn't go to the games as often as he does. He goes to every game. Yeah, Angela's cancer storyline is revealed more as things continue. At first you just see her like putting pills into like one of those days of the week organizers, and then she has a slight scare where it turns out it's just scar tissue, but she felt something that she thought was the cancer coming back. Yeah, and then everyone has a reason for the family dynamics to be the way that they are. Like I really liked Rosa. They say that like the first big family dinner that you see is she like puts out the appetizer tray. It's got like meats and cheeses and stuff, and she's like, dinner's in 20 minutes, don't fill up on this. And they're like, why are you bringing it out then? Because she's like, because mom will be so mad if I don't bring it out, and then she'll bring it up for the next 15 family dinners and you don't have to live with her. And like goes through this whole thing of like, this is she's gone through this before, and she's the one that still lives at home because she's not married. And she gets together with DJ Joey Bones at the end of the movie, and it's like,
but they do like a really like,
it's not super forced.
no, they do a good way of like it's still like being like a background plot, but like of making it realistic and sweet and cute without forcing like okay, they're gonna end up together.
DJ Joey Bones works at
Versailles Palace or something.
It's like a big event center that they're just always at because they say like Italian families, there's always
a party
celebrating
for everything.
Yeah, we're celebrating something all the time, so that you see them at these various events for like family members, and then like friends of family members and friends of family members, of like christenings and weddings and anniversaries and birthdays and stuff like that. So they see each other all the time. Another thing I just thought of the like show don't tell is a lot of the times when it was groups of people then are like all sitting together, then Leo didn't have a chair and he was standing. They do that in like when Rosa brings the meat plate out, and then also when they're meeting with the recruiter and other stuff. So he's always he never quite fits in. It subverts some expectations, not as much as I thought the trailer would do. For the plot that I thought the trailer was setting up was that Leo asked Danny to keep dating Styx, and then Danny tells Styx immediately and doesn't go through with it.
Yeah.
And then Styx is upset at his dad, and then he has to like deal with the repercussions of that for the rest of the movie.
That's not what happens.
That's not what happens.
She agrees to it because she feels bad, and then
She feels bad, but she also like cares about Styx. She's not like Leo offers to pay her because she's like saving up for her car and stuff.
then she's like, no.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, you're right. I'm sorry. Forget I said that.
Yeah.
It was dumb of me. Sometimes I don't think.
Yeah.
But she still decides to fake date, basically.
Yeah.
Styx. And he gets the scholarship to go to Drexel in Philly. And then she breaks up with him.
Because that
And
was
lets
the
it
terms.
yeah, and then lets it slip that like her Styx's dad Leo asked her to do this.
Yeah.
And then Styx rightfully gets upset,
Yeah.
and then there's a whole
There's fallout that he deals with, but it's not. It's like I don't know, maybe the last 20 minutes of the movie. Then he's dealing with that, and there's like a whole epilogue of like 4 months later, and like Styx decides not to go to Drexel.
Instead he goes to a community college.
Yeah.
Which like that's fine. That's your own path.
It's I think that was a good compromise because
It
the
is.
whole
Yeah, no,
thing
you're right.
that they had was like he's gonna join the family business. The other thing that this subverts expectations of is like, yeah, he has a chance of a basketball scholarship, but this isn't like, again, the Disney Channel movies of like this is a thing that his parents have been pushing him towards the entire time. They never really considered him going to college until like that scout met them in a parking lot and was like, what do you mean he's not going to college? Like I think he's good enough to do it. And then Leo is like, yay, good for my kid, but then also he really focuses on the fact that Drexel has 2,000 seats in their stadium.
Yeah.
And I like when you see that, then you see him calculating like all of those people chanting Mr. Russo.
So like the dream that like Leo has is less like, I didn't get to be the basketball player that I always dreamed of, but you can be the basketball player that I always dreamed of.
You can be something.
Yeah.
You don't have to be under my dad's thumb.
Yeah. So like it was a little sweet in that of like at least like he's just like he is like you can be what you want to be, but it was still like it gives me purpose.
It gives him purpose
and attention.
Yeah, he also like they really highlight that Styx was really quiet as a kid. They said he didn't talk outside of the house until he was 4, and then basketball is what really broke him out of his shell. And so like that's partially why Leo goes to support him, is like this helps him be himself, or like to and then the college thing was like they never considered that for the money, and then if he goes to community college, that feels like a good compromise of like the financially it's a little better and less of a risk, I guess, than trying to go for basketball.
And Styx is into poetry. He writes poems.
Yeah.
And so it ends with Leo and Angela at a slam poetry reading that Styx is in. And then after Styx reads his poem, Leo stands up and points at him. Which is very goofy to like actually be there, but it was very sweet, like in terms of like what the movie was doing. But
that was one of the scenes that I was surprised that was in the trailer, just because it's like Styx on stage and then you see his dad in the audience, and that's like that's like the climax of the movie, or one of
the
resolution. Anyway, other subversions is Danny isn't a bad person. It really humanizes her.
Yeah, she is just a teenage girl who is dating in high school and is about to go, after they graduate, on a cross-country road trip. And she's like, I don't really want to, be committed to anyone because I'm leaving. And
her family doesn't really pay attention to her.
No.
Like she
Comes from like the rich suburb where the parents are always busy making money.
And they have expectations for her. She says that like her dad said, I'll pay for school and nothing else. So like he expects her to go to college. She doesn't want to go to college. So that's why she's saving up for a car. Is she's like gonna make that for herself.
They want her to go to Yale or some Ivy League school so that they can brag about it to their friends. That was her reasoning.
Yeah. I also liked that when you first see her, Angela goes to the bathroom during the basketball game because she's trying to get away from an awkward interaction from someone. And then you see Danny go into the bathroom and she's talking on the phone and she's like, no mom, I told you I was going to the game, you just never listened to me. And it seems like a really like typical teenager thing of like, well, I'm sure your parents were like, that's not what the dynamic is. And then you find out later like, no, that actually is what the dynamic is. And then the mom isn't overbearing, like she's just really nervous, and like she's not gonna like who dates her son, but it's not like
the movie,
it's not weird about it in a way that a lot of other movies are weird about it.
No,
she's never like, my sweet perfect baby angel boy.
No, she just doesn't like
her.
But the movie does end. It ends.
The last line is so good.
Hysterical. So they're at the slam poetry reading, and then a girl in the audience cheers and screams, and she's like, "Woo, I love you, Sticks!"
Yeah.
And then it cuts over to Angela, and she just goes, "Who the fuck is this slut?" Or like something like that. And she's like,
she goes, "Who's this whore?"
Yeah. It's like,
and then the movie
it just cuts to black,
there.
and it's very funny.
It's very good because it was like you just saw Sticks give his emotional like poem,
and like the
like
parents,
performing for the first time.
The parents are like, okay, this is who our son is.
Yeah. And then like he also references Rocky in it, which is my next bullet point. And then it's like, so his dad is like, yes, I can still bond with my son over this, like I still know who he is. And then I think the girl says Matthew instead of Sticks.
She says Matthew. Okay.
Yeah. Which like no one calls him Matthew. And then the mom just like whoop, like eagle eyes her. The movie really likes Rocky.
Yeah. But like it makes sense to me because like he's a dad from the East Coast when Rocky was big.
Mm-hmm.
So like it makes sense that like he saw this movie and he was like, oh yeah,
this is great.
That's good shit.
Yeah. There's another little detail that I liked of when they get the game highlights from Styx's last game, and Leo puts it in the DVD player, and then you see that the DVD that he just took out was Rocky 2.
So he's always watching Rocky.
Yeah, he references it so many times.
So many times that there's even a point where Styx references Rocky to Danny.
Yeah.
And it's very funny. It's like, okay, like
he goes, "Have you ever seen Rocky?" And she's like, "No." I feel like there's so many things we haven't even talked about before we get into production facts. Leo has a whole like minor midlife crisis. He's got this whole thing with what's her name?
The woman
Pamela Carmelo.
The woman who owns the house that the construction company is working on.
One of the B plots of this movie.
Yeah, is flirty with Leo, and we learn that her husband died and she's all alone, and she sees a nice dependable man, and so she like kind of flirts with him. And then during the fallout after Styx confronts his dad about talking to Danny to date him, Leo is drunk and then goes to her house, and she cleans him up and kisses him, and then he's like, I can't do the sex with you.
Yeah.
And then
he goes and he sleeps on his own front lawn
to not wake anybody up, but really it's because he didn't have his keys.
Yeah. I liked that. It's another slight subversion of like, it's not, he runs away from her house and someone he like almost runs into someone walking their dog, and as he's running, he's yelling, we didn't do anything. It just got a little weird for a second."
But nothing happened.
Nothing happened. And then I also liked that when she first flirts with him, he like goes home
And then immediately starts to initiate an adult relationship with his wife.
His first instinct is like Angela
Yeah.
and not pursue this new woman.
Yeah.
I liked it.
I liked it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
Anything else before production facts?
No, I say let's get into these production facts.
So like we said earlier, no one is really talking about this movie, which means I did not have nearly as many facts because like there's just very little press about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So like I usually start at the Wikipedia page and then look at various sources and stuff that they have there. We just recorded our bonus episode for the Wes Anderson short films that came out on Netflix, and the Wikipedia page for one of those was longer than this. Anyway, it was released April 21st, 2023 by Lionsgate and Roadside Attractions. It had a 2022 debut at Tribeca.
So we're counting it as 2023.
Because it has a theatrical release.
Yep.
It's an hour, 46-minute runtime. It's rated R, which I was surprised by.
I mean, there's tons of cussing, that's why.
Yeah.
It's just that.
Yeah. It's got a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes with a 92% audience score, and then a 61 out of 100 on Metacritic.
That's weird.
Metacritic averages critic reviews, and it only pulled from 16 reviews.
Okay.
So I think that was partially why.
Yeah.
And then some of the like press from Tribeca, it says Somewhere in Queens brings Romano's idiosyncratic comedic voice onto the big screen with ample heart and hilarity, a crowd-pleasing dramedy that isn't scared of getting awkward. Romano's directorial debut is a love letter to the biggest borough in New York City and flawed parents trying their best.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah,
Sure.
obviously it debuted at Tribeca. They're gonna say nice things about it, but I feel like that's like the best one that I could find, or the best blurb.
Yeah.
It's true. It does get awkward, and the movie's super cool about it. And then I try to find a good quote from various interviews or reviews about the movie. Instead, I found this 2-star review from Roger Ebert that is just not true. Not even like I disagree with this, because I do disagree with it. It should be higher than 2 stars, but it's just factually inaccurate. It said Danny breaks up with him because she knows there's a Cold War breakup already on the way since they're headed for different colleges.
She's not going to college.
She's not going to college.
It's not really...
That's not why she breaks up with him.
She breaks up with him because he confesses her love for her after 3 weeks of dating.
Styx writes a poem that says, like, is telling her that he loves her.
I'm not so good at words, but, you know, my heart knows that there are 3 words that I want to tell you. Do you get it?
Yeah. So then she breaks up with him because she's like, too much too fast.
Yeah.
It's the parents are proud of Styx because he's a star basketball player with a chance at a scholarship. That's not why they're proud of him. They're
proud of their son because he's their son.
He exists. Yeah. And like, yeah, he's good at basketball, but that that wasn't one of their considerations.
And Angela's like still not even on board with the idea.
Yeah. Like it shows that in the trailer if she's like, this needs to be his decision.
Yeah.
Like they don't care if he's a star basketball player or if he goes to college. It says this thing from Roger Ebert says that the movie doesn't acknowledge the quote gross and weird plot pivot when Leo asks Danny to keep seeing Styx.
They acknowledge it
instantly in the scene,
and then later on
he immediately goes like, "Oh my god, you're right. That was
terrible.
The worst thing I've ever done."
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a quote from it that says there's an alternate universe where the film sunk its teeth into Leo's psychology and morphed into a great cringe comedy about an obsessed schmuck like something Albert Brooks or Ben Stiller might have once starred in, but that's not the universe we live in. God. I'm okay with that.
Who did this review? Who made this review?
Not Roger, because R.I.P.
Yeah, and did they like Old Dads? Because it's right now seeming
Yeah.
Like they would have liked Old Dads if they don't like good movies.
The other thing is I can't do cringe comedy. I can't.
I mean, I can, but like this was not.
The secondhand embarrassment is painful.
No, that's fair. But
like,
I'm big in like Nathan Fielder.
Yeah.
Big into his stuff.
That's on the edge for me.
Yeah.
Is like, I can't do it. I can't do so many scenes of just Michael Scott from The Office, and just it's bleh.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, like I don't want this. I don't want to see Ben Stiller doing this.
No, this wouldn't have been the same movie, and this means it would have been not as a good movie.
Like, this isn't a groundbreaking movie, like we've said, but it's wholesome. Like, it's got a good vibe, and I don't get why you would think that it's worth it to take that away from it to then like make fun of Leo instead of being on his side.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway,
was it a success? I mean, if I had to guess, no.
So I don't know how accurate these numbers are, but according to bestmoviecast.com,
Sure.
this movie had a budget of $38 million.
Okay.
And then box office, it got $1.8 million, and that's fully domestic with no international release.
It was barely in theaters. This definitely wasn't a money-making movie.
No, it's like very limited theatrical release.
Yeah.
It was at Tribeca. Like, this is a film festival movie, and then it's on streaming, so like there's also no way to tell like how much it's actually made now or anything. I will also say, like, we heard about this movie. It seems like we were the only ones. But even with that marketing budget, 1.8 million, that's not bad.
No.
Yeah, so the project was announced in February 2021, and then the rest of the cast were announced May 2021, and then principal photography took place between April and May of 2021 in New York City, with some other scenes being shot in June of 2021, and then that's it. The movie was made. That's the whole timeline. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
And then, as we've said, it was co-written, directed, and produced, and starring Ray Romano, again, like Bill Burr. This is his directorial debut. In a Screen Rant interview, he said he got advice from Judd Apatow and Bradley Cooper on directing, and then also directing and starring in the movie that you're directing. He got that from Bradley Cooper, and the interview was also very funny because, like, Ray Romano's a pretty big name, but he was like, in the interview, he was like, not to name drop, but I did get to talk to Bradley Cooper, and that was pretty cool. It was pretty based on his real life. He doesn't say it's autobiographical, but there are some pretty clear like A to B plot points. His wife also had breast cancer, and a lot of the events are inspired by her family. He said that like the family in this movie is based off of the family that he married into. So there's a quote from him where he says, for 35 years, I've been to all those parties and the weddings and all the traditional stuff, and I wanted to do a story about that. I didn't know exactly what it was going to be about. At the time, as we were writing it, it was my son who was graduating high school, who played on the basketball team, and I got such a thrill going to the games and being proud of him, and also basking in the attention. If I'm being honest, as pathetic as that is, I don't get enough attention in my real life. I have to get it there. So that's Leo. And then the co-writer on this was Mark Stegman, and they have plans for another collaboration. He said that they're writing their own project, but they paused due to the strikes. They're not getting paid by anyone to write it. They just did it out of respect to the strikes.
I respect that.
Yeah, and then they're also, or he at least, Ray Romano, is working on a biopic about Jimmy Valvano.
Who?
Basketball. Gave a very inspirational speech, and then at like a Hall of Fame ceremony, and then died like 2 months later or something like that. So he's into sports.
Yeah, he likes basketball.
Yeah, I think that's his character.
Go Knicks!
And Everybody Loves Ray was also a sports writer.
Oh, was he?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I think all of his kids seem to have been involved in this movie.
Yeah.
So Matt Romano is credited as Matt Cougar. He might have been a student.
Yeah.
Gregory Romano is credited as a high school kid, and Joe Romano as Pencil Guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then Allie Romano is credited as a co-producer, and that's his daughter. I don't think his wife was involved in this, or she's not credited with anything. Yeah. Besides Allie, it doesn't really seem like his kids are super into the film world.
I don't
Which
think they were.
they don't have to be.
Nope.
Yeah. And then, according to IMDb trivia, Jacob Ward found out that he got the part of Styx while he was driving for Postmates.
Good for him.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to do this before the rating system.
Mm-hmm.
So, I figured this would be a shorter episode because we had nicer things to say about this movie, and also we're sleepy. So I had a question of if/when you become a Disney Channel original movie dad, what activity or interest do you think you would force your kid into, and what do you think they'd actually be into?
I think I would be like the Disney Channel original movie dad from the hit Disney Channel original movie Smart House, where I would get an opportunity to live in a smart house, and I would force my kids to live in this smart house with me. Is their mom around? No, she died. Can the smart house make a holographic new mom? Yes. Yes, you can. Thank you for asking. And do my kids like their new mom? Yeah, at first, until she goes a little kooky because we don't want to be in the house at all times. And then she shuts the house down with us inside of it. But my kids would probably be into like Hot Wheels or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ice cream. What do kids like?
Yeah.
What dinosaurs?
Yeah, at a certain age.
Space.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
I've been trying to think about this, and I'm trying to think of like super specific things to get kids into. I just feel like forcing your kid onto the chess team is very funny to me.
I think forcing your kid onto like academic Super Bowl or science Olympiad, or one like, because like chess, like people do that. That is for sure a thing that people do.
That's
but
a
one
thing
of
that
like
people do, but it's also one of the things where it's like, if you're not into chess, that's fair. I'm not into basketball. No one pushed me into basketball. If someone was like, I'm not really into chess, but then you just had the screaming parent of like, you have to do this every day.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
Yeah.
Mathletes? You force your kid to be a mathlete?
And then, I don't know, I think they'd actually be into like
checkers.
Baking.
Oh.
I do remember a Disney Channel movie. I forget what the actual sport was because it's always a sport, but it's like, I don't know, the kid was forced into jump roping, and then they were actually really into cooking, and I remember the cooking thing. And then like there's the big competition. Oh no,
is it Red Hot Chili Peppers?
The Red Hot Chili Peppers?
No, it might have been called Chili Peppers. I know there was some jump rope thing that was called Chili Peppers.
I don't know.
Or
I don't know if
their
it
team
was,
name was Chili Peppers.
I don't know if it was actually Chili Peppers, but I know that, or actually jump rope, but I know that the cooking was the thing because there was the big cooking competition at the end, and then the kid had to have their dad fill in as a replacement for their teammate. And then the dad was able to crack an egg with one hand, and that was like a thing that kept coming up in this movie. Of like, the kid was like, I wish I was a skilled enough chef to be able to crack an egg with one hand. And then the dad did it, and the kid was like, Dad, that's impressive.
That's it.
I don't think we've watched that one yet. Of the 10 Disney Channel original movies that I've gone through so far, I don't think that has been on there.
I saw it literally just the one time, but that scene was weird enough that it stuck out to me.
That's fair.
Bryce, do you have anything that you would force your kid into?
He'd probably be into like D&D or something, and then I'd
Woo. All right. Get a little
We can
dark.
cut that. We can cut that. We can cut that.
No, we don't cut things in this podcast. We leave everything in.
I'm sorry. I'm so tired. So, actual answer.
No.
would be-
That was your actual answer. Your son, who is into D&D, the thing that you like.
No.
You'd
Then I'd say if that was it.
So what is?
Now let's see where you stand. No. He would be into cars, like really into cars.
The franchise?
No. If it was just the franchise,
Acceptable.
leave him alone.
Yeah.
If he was into actual cars,
You'd force him into bicycles.
Mm-hmm.
it's more, it helps the environment a bit more.
Yeah.
I'd try to get him to cycling. We'd start with the spin class.
Mm.
And then, we'll work up to mountain biking.
And then you abort him.
And then yeetus the fetus. Get it out of here.
I want to say before we talk about our ratings,
Yeah.
just like if you are a famous comedian and you are making a directorial debut,
Mm-hmm.
this is how you do it.
Yeah.
Because I can tell, because both of them are also somewhat biographical,
Yeah.
but I can tell that Ray Romano put so much of his heart into this movie,
Mm-hmm.
and Bill Burr, his movie felt so Netflix corporate
Yeah.
cookie cutter.
This one is like you see Leo at his lowest. You see Bill Burr's character also at his lowest, but like Leo emotionally feels at his lowest,
Yeah.
and then he's not afraid to like tell his son how he feels and like admit when he's wrong.
Yeah.
And that's all stuff that Bill Burr's character does on paper, but like not really. Like I think the thing besides like just the general, I keep saying vibe, but just the general vibe of the movie, the thing that really sets Somewhere in Queens apart from Old Dads is the scene of Leo in the car with Danny, where he's giving her a ride to work after he goes to her house, and then he's like, oh, what if you just kept dating my kid? And she's like, no, that's bad. And he says, you're right. They just kind of like sit there in silence for a little bit, and then he just starts talking about his son. Like he's not trying to guilt her into doing it. He's just like,
I'm sorry, here's my explanation of
He's-
because I love my son this
yeah,
much and there's this story. And,
he's laying out like what Styx means to him and what basketball means to their relationship. And then he says like not only has he been to every game, but like when Styx first started out, then like he was so nervous about being outside of the house basically that Leo had to go to every practice with him too, and like always be there for him. So like it's a good scene, and you can actually see like he experiences a human emotion that isn't anger.
Yeah. But yeah, our rating, we have a 4 rating system with 5 options. 0 out of 4 is, oh no, don't make a movie, Bill, stop it. And 1 is it was a movie.
Yeah.
And a 2 is well made. It's a well made movie. 3 is enjoyable and technically good, and 4 is Oscar worthy. I gave this movie a 3 out of 4 because it's enjoyable and technically good. Like it's a real solid movie, but because it's not doing anything like radically different or new, it's not like enough to like really punch it up to like Oscar worthy. With the exception of, I do think the mom,
Oh yeah,
her performance is Oscar worthy.
she's the strongest.
She is the sister in Roseanne.
Yeah. Yeah. I also gave it a 3. For similar reasons of like I really enjoyed it for what it was. Just again thinking about other movies that we've talked about and bottoms and other 4 out of 4s, then like it's not quite there. And then there was also a few nitpicky technical things that like were enough of a thing that I noticed, and like I would like to think that we know what we're doing. So like, but also if I notice it while we're watching a movie, then like someone else should have seen it who got paid to work on the movie. Hopefully got paid to work on the movie. So like the big thing is that same scene of Leo talking to Danny in the car. There's some stuff of like they use like an image stabilizer, and it if you do that, sometimes it makes it like ripple almost, and I could see it just a little bit. And then in that same thing, then there's a couple of lines that Leo is delivering to Danny. The camera is focused on Danny's face, and then Leo is out of focus, but you could see like his mouth was opening. It's one of those things that like you're supposed to be focusing on Danny's face, and you shouldn't notice that anything's weird, but like his mouth is opening at all the right points, but you can tell that like the take that they used, those aren't the words that are coming out of his mouth. Like he says something that like it's an M word or something, and you don't see the like come out of his mouth is the best way that I can describe it. So just small things like that it's not perfect, but it's good. Yeah. And would recommend.
Indeed. Yeah. So that is the end of the discussion for Somewhere in Queens. But we always talk about another movie that we've watched recently. The movie I'm going to talk about, because it's really the only movie that I've watched recently, is 2005's Robots.
Oh.
Starring Ewan McGregor, Halle Berry, Stanley Tucci, Mel Brooks, oh god, what's her name? Where's my dog? I can't do the Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah. Where's my dog?
Where's my dog? Other people are also in it.
Yeah.
But you know, it's a silly animated movie.
Did you say Robin Williams?
Oh yeah, Robin Williams.
Yeah.
That's the big one. Silly movie, 2005.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. I don't necessarily think it's like the best animated movie ever. I think it's fun, and there are scenes that I definitely remember from my childhood because of just how exciting it was to see as like a kid.
Yeah. The dominoes, and then just like all of like the Rube Goldberg machine-esque-ness of just how they travel around the city is really interesting. And I do think that's really interesting. And the animation, I think, holds up, but it helps because everything is metal. And so, like, it's not like they were doing hair or anything. Everything was, like, metallic pieces that were, like, an easier texture. The story is rushed, in my opinion. Yeah. For a children's movie, even, I think it's still, like, out of nowhere, they're just kind of teaming up to save the day. But that's I get it. It's a kid's movie. That's bound to happen. I do
Still a fun movie.
Yeah, I like the anti-capitalist message that it teaches the children.
That's great. I think that's great. And I love that Mel Brooks is like the guy teaching that. Yeah.
I watched it for the first time back in college, and it took me 2 tries because the first time I was hammered. Absolutely hammered. But that wasn't why I couldn't finish it. I couldn't finish it because for some reason I was very upset as to why they, in that early montage of him growing up, as to why they did him dirty and give him his cousin's hand-me-downs, the lady ones. And I was just like, these are machines. Just fix. Yeah. Just fix the other torso. Picture day is one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let this man exist.
There's a couple like lore things in there where it's like they definitely just did it for the joke and not for the world building, which I get it. And
the implications that go with that, because some of the implications are
spooky.
Yeah. I'm just too practical a person when I'm inebriated.
I get that.
And, you know, I wanted to clarify that it is 2005's Robots and not 2023's Robots, a movie that we will be watching and talking about, which is drastically different.
Yeah.
Because that one is about a world where you can make robots, but making robot clones of yourself was banned. But 2 people make robot clones of themselves, and then those robot clones fall in love and then run away. And it's starring Jack Whitehall and I think Shailene Woodley.
It might still be anti-capitalist, though. We never know.
We never know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the movie I wanted to talk about.
I recently rewatched Shaun of the Dead.
Oh yeah, we also
That was the other one that we saw.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Forgot about that one. Shaun of the Dead is a great one.
Yeah.
Classic. Edgar Wright is great.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of that trilogy.
The Cornetto trilogy.
Yeah.
I enjoy all of the details and stuff. I think I still haven't seen the third one.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
The not Hot Fuzz one of the
Yeah.
trilogy. But from the 2 that I've seen, Hot Fuzz is still one of my favorites.
Yeah.
That intro editing sequence is one of the things that would be shown in like every class of like, this is how editing works and here's
Yeah.
the example that we use. But yeah, Shaun of the
If
Dead,
you want
very good.
a movie where the director cares about everything.
Yeah,
and
that's how
puts
this
so
is
much
related.
thought- yeah, then those movies are there.
Yeah.
But yeah, follow us on Instagram. That's where you'll stay up to date on what's happening.
Mhm.
Support us on Patreon. Leave your questions and comments and we'll respond. We'll respond to you. You there, out there in the viewership land.
Mm-hmm.
We'll answer your questions.
Oh,
if we
boy.
want to.
If we want to.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and obviously if you're Joshua Powell 1868, then we'll make room for you.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
But for now...
Oh,
Oh,
hey, just like a little. I don't know if we're getting to this, but if/when we do FNAF, for
Mhm.
Five Nights at
oh
Freddy's,
yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
I looked at the reviews today.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's
Crazy.
a wild time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is there some sort of trend going on about just leaving historical like bits of history in your reviews?
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, it's
There's some weird stuff happening, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
There's a
more.
lot of
I'm
that
just-
stuff.
that episode might be a long one.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to like sprinkle that in. I'm just
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to discussing that.
Yeah.
But for now, we'll see you next week.
Bye.